All right, welcome to the first ever No Control Zone Commissionaires podcast. I'm one half of your broadcast team as one of the commissioners, owner of the Courtney Islanders. I'm Terry, and we got Al with us today from the Living Skies Capitals. How you doing, Al?
I'm good. How's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. All right, so we got a new format going here. We're easier to communicate with these, obviously. That way we get our point across, and we got a pretty unforeseen season coming up. Al would be the best way to call it. So
It's going to be a unique season, that's for sure.
yeah, so we basically we think it'll be easier to talk it out on the podcast here. That way you guys can understand what's going on, and in the long run, then we'll put up some votes onto the website that we can do some votes. But we're gonna have to get going. Who knows what's gonna happen? I mean, I can't see the NHL starting January 1, but they still keep saying they're trying for it. What do you think, Al? You think they'll make it?
Stranger things have happened, but yeah, I think realistically we're looking at mid to late January for a start.
Yeah, I think so too. I think even possibly February. I really do.
Yeah, might even get into February. It all depends on what happens at their next meeting, I guess, with the owners. So
yeah, the almighty dollar, going after the almighty dollar. All right, also you gotta get that for sure. And by the way, congratulations on your private pilot's license.
Thank you.
Well done. Well done.
It was a long, hard road, but it finally is done, and I get to now play around with my plane.
All right. Why don't you start us off with our first points that we are going to talk about today?
Okay. Well, we got three major issues that we're going to have to go over, really. First, decide whether we're going to play or not. Obviously, everybody wants to play, so I guess we're going to have a season. So it means we're only going to have probably 12 to 14 weeks of our regular season before we start our playoffs. Maybe even as little as 10 weeks.
That's
maybe. Depending when they start, because as you said in your podcast, they have a drop dead date of the 22nd of June, July
22nd.
So July 22nd is the drop dead date, and they want that almighty American broadcasting dollars. So they're going to kowtow to them, and they're going to finish when they're told to finish. So our season's going to be short. So, pros, we have a season and we can still chuck shit at one another. We're interested and we pay attention to the hockey season. Cons, I don't see any for us. It's going to be taxing on Terry and myself trying to figure out how this is going to work, but hopefully, we can go over this and get input from you guys.
Just want to make sure that everybody knows the different kind of complications that can come throughout this season. For example, now they're really heating up talking about the bubbles again. So if they do the bubbles, you play 2 weeks straight and then you get a complete week off. So if you're loaded with players in one team, it can really hurt you. And it's also going to be that way in the playoffs too. But I got a feeling that everybody, I think we got a bunch of junky fantasy hockey guys here that just want to play and they don't care if it's a fluke season or whatever, and they want some cash on the line. So
I think they're watching what's happening in the NFL right now too. They're not playing with any bubbles, and look at how many cases they're getting, and they're having to reschedule games and push games by a week or 4 days to get them in because they've got all these positive cases. So it's going to be a different season from the get-go.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
So money-wise, what can we do for the league?
Well, that's the next thing. If we're going to go ahead, then do we do $100 for a normal season like we would normally would? do we do $50 because it's going to be a partial season, or do we do just a free bragging rights one? And I think after having talked with Terry and I are both kind of in favor of the let's play $50, get some money out of it, and go ahead.
Yeah, it gives everybody still has had a little bit on the line, but this one's just going to be so much more of a crapshoot. For the I'm not that fantasy hockey isn't a crapshoot anyway, because it is, but this really makes it what could be an absolute crapshoot in the long run. Like, we don't know, like, is one, if they're doing this 2-week bubble thing and then the 1 week off, what happens if one of the teams gets the virus while they're in their 2-week thing, then they're out not playing for that week or whatever they get quarantined for. So there's a lot of ups, but as long as we all agree on that, we know it's a crapshoot and we just want to do it because we like doing fantasy hockey and we just want to have fun, then yeah, I'm all for it. But I think probably the $50 would be, from my point of view, the way.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's going to be
just for this year only.
Yeah, just for this year.
Yeah.
And then we kind of need to come to a consensus of what happens if they shut down again. Right? Like if they decide, okay, they get 12 weeks into the season, then they decide, no, we're having way too many cases. This isn't worth it financially or physically for any of the teams and players, and decide that they're going to shut down. What do we do?
Yeah.
Do we split it between the top 3 best records? Do we do the top 3 60 30 10? Are we still going to give out money for the category wins as well if we do the split, or are we going to say forget the category wins?
I think it's probably, in my opinion, I think if we have that low of thing, if they get if they go with the 48 game schedule and they get it all in, then we go with the categories or whatever. But if we're down to really small numbers like that, I think what we're trying to say is the bottom line here is to give out the money. We want to have known before the season starts, pretty much the minimum way to get money out will be give it to a regular season winner if we can't hold our playoffs. So, but if we get a regular season in and we got a winner, then we can do like what Al said there with the 60 30 10 for the top 3 and hand it out that way. Or if we run into a situation next year, say we get into the quarterfinals and the season is screwed up during our quarterfinals, well, then we can divide the money in 8. If it's like last year and it's in the semifinals, then we can divide it in 4. And then if it happens in the finals, whatever, we divide by 2. But I think by the time you get that far, it's probably going to be completed the season.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, but so I would think that our bare bottom line to hand out money this year is that we have to have our regular season. So
yes,
if we set a time that we say it's only 18 weeks in total, and we go, okay, week 12 is our last week. If we get that regular season in, that's good enough to declare a regular season winner. If we don't get that far, we just scrap the season and do whatever. Now, this is when it'll bring up what happens with the transactions. Like, people are making transactions for next year for draft and that. I'm sure there's, along that line in that. So what happens?
Well, they be like last year, any trades you make, the money goes into the pot and we split it up.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have to be very picky and choosy on the trades you make this year, because it's going to be, who knows what's going to happen. And then the other thing that we were discussing before we went on air there, Terry, if they have a 2 or 3 or 4 week shutdown in the middle of the season and they come back and there's only 4 weeks to play and we haven't started our playoffs, So we're not going to get our 6-week playoffs in. Then what do we do? And I think the idea we came up with was that we would just play all the way to the end of the regular NHL season. And then the top 3 would split using the 60-30-10. And we just play it right to the end of the NHL season and go that way.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good way to go.
I think it's a good option. At least that way we keep going rather than just ending at that point and then divvying up the money. At least then we continue right to the end of the season.
Yep. Yeah, I like it. Anything else?
I don't think there's anything else that I had on my list there.
Oh, well, the one things that I can think of, I know Ryan Kelly wants to get trades going as soon as possible. And Ryan, we will get those going as quick as we can, but the rosters have to be settled first. I'm still talking with the guys. I got another letter today saying that they're going to do the techie thing and they're actually going to go through it. I thought they were last time, but so anyway, I'm expecting that to be done. If it's not done, I'll get a hold of them pretty quick. So if we have a January start, we got less than a month's time here. So I understand that people want to get going. So we'll try and get that open for you as soon as possible. As soon as the rosters are done, I'll open up trading.
Yeah. And then we'll have to decide when we're going to do the draft.
The draft will always be that last weekend of before the season starts, right?
Yeah, that could be Christmas.
Oh, Jesus. Wow.
If they're starting January 1st, that means we're looking at a draft on the 26th, 27th, somewhere in there. Like it's going to be really tight.
I just don't. I don't see them making the January one.
I don't see it either. But hey, stranger things have happened.
I know, for sure.
Yeah. So, but I mean, until we know when the start date is, we can't really decide what's going to go on there. And I guess the only other thing is just remind everybody that we're going to be going with that new format, right? 12 forwards, 6D, and 2 goalies.
Yep.
11 forwards, 7D, and 2 goalies. I haven't smoked any weed, so I can get through that without.
Right. Woo! I like it. I love it. I tell you, retirement's pretty tough, boys.
You look like you're suffering.
Sonia's been talking to me, and she's saying, maybe I'm thinking I'll retire at 69. Well, I don't know if we could really afford that. Hey, Lori, how you doing? Making the No Control Zone podcast.
That's right. She wanted to get in on the first podcast.
Our first guest.
That's right. All right. So I think we've covered everything. We can put that out to the guys. And if you guys have any comments or any suggestions that you'd like to see, drop it in the comments so that we can have a look at it and discuss it further.
Yeah. Throw it in the comments. Got anything to say? And I guess, should we start some of those polls now?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll post about the 60-30 and the 10
60-30-10 or what do we do? Yep.
The amount for the season. So we'll get some of those up there. So be checking the website, guys. And like, if it does come into Christmas, I know it's going to be tough, but like, I know for sure if we have to have a draft at Christmas, there's going to be 1, 2, or 3 people say, I can't make that day. Can you move it? We're going to have a quick discussion and find out what's the best day for everybody. And then once we set it, we got to set it.
Absolutely. We're going to have to, and it's going to be quick. Yeah. Where it's going to be, we find out that they're starting on this date and next day we're going to be going, okay, guys, we need to do our draft either this day or this day. And you guys need to look at the site. You need to put in your preference. And then we just go with what the majority wants. It's going to suck for some people, but there's not much we can do about it.
Yeah. They're just going to have to go to auto draft for sure. Right?
Yeah. Set your auto draft and put on auto draft and hope for the best.
Yeah. And we've usually been pretty lenient with what we've done with that, with everybody, and trying to make it accommodate. But don't forget, we got Christmas ourselves, right? So we got things to do. So we can't be running around and trying to accommodate for everybody as well either. So help us out, guys. Sound like a deal?
Sounds
Ooh,
good to
there you
me.
go. All right, we got it. We got her back. All right. Well, yeah. I love the podcast format. I love that we can communicate with you guys like this, and it's been a blast. We'll be looking forward to a great up and coming season and whatnot, and it should be a fun time. So, with saying that, we're just gonna zip out.
Hopefully we can do this maybe once a month, Terry, do a commissioners podcast once a month and just go over how it's going.
Yeah, and I was also talking to Renee about possibly getting on some guests
Absolutely.
podcast too. So we'll be doing that. So we're trying to master the old Zoom stuff now. We're doing our best. All right. So I'm Terry from the Islanders. I'm out of here. How about you?
Al from the Caps, the other commissioner, and I'm out of here. See ya.
All right. Good luck to everybody this up and coming season. Take it easy.